Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your boy Nolan Hawkeye Anthony here, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic week wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Instead of doing the NHA podcast this Wednesday, or well, today's Tuesday actually, me and Dean are going to be giving you guys our updated standings. Two games into the season, for some teams three, which is what most of the NHA podcast was going to be anyways. And, you know, the fact is on Saturdays, we hook you up with a pregame show and a postgame show. So you guys are all good for content. And without further ado, I want to introduce my partner, Dean. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great today. Thank you.
Good to see you, buddy. I'm excited to do this. Very excited to do this. Before I move on, just really quickly, I want to mention going to 247hawkeye.com, and I hope you guys consider hitting that subscribe button. Really means a lot when you guys do that. And if you don't think me and Dean have earned it, at the very least, like, comment. That's why we do this. We want to be involved with you guys and chat with you guys and hang out, so to speak. Right off the bat, Dean, you know, the bottom line is it's only 2 games into the season, and, you know, this is not the end all be all. As an Iowa fan, I would rather have Iowa atop of the standings, you know, 6 games into the season as opposed to 2. But, you know, either way, it's all good and it's fun doing this. And the other thing is, a lot of these teams are very close together, and you know, there's a group of teams that are right next to each other because the teams that they have beaten, it's not obvious how good those teams are that they have indeed beaten. So this is going to be a little strange. Any thoughts before we jump right into this, Dean?
It's been a strange season already.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that stands out for me is we're going to know more after this weekend about the Big Ten power rankings, because we've got some Big Ten teams playing each other, and we've got some Big Ten teams playing some big names this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm excited, baby. And Iowa's got Kent State, by the way. And it should be all good. All right, guys, this is why you guys are here. You guys want us to give you our standing. So our power rankings, so to speak. And so we will. Dean, I'll go first. Let's start with the Big Ten East. Okay. Both of us. I'll go first with the Big Ten East. And at the very end, guys, we will do the top 5 teams overall. Okay. We're going to separate the West and the East, and then we'll give you our top 5 because everybody else, it's just too close. So, all right, Dean, here I go. All right. Number 1 for me in the Big Ten East, it's Penn State. They have one of the best wins in beating Wisconsin early in the season. And, you know, to me, it is almost a no-brainer to have them at the top. And at number 2, I have Michigan. They've looked good, Dean. You know, I have not been paying a ton of attention to them, but their 2 wins have been, you know, solid. They've been okay. And that is good. Actually, here's all my standings right here. Well, here, I'm going to actually get out of it. You guys didn't see that. And number 3, I have Ohio State, and I almost put them lower. And I'll tell you why, because when I argue for Iowa being in the top 5 and, you know, this and that, my biggest argument is if you are just looking at this season, Iowa has the 2 best victories put together in all of college football. And the bottom line is with Ohio State, if you just look at resume, the win over Minnesota is pretty good. And the loss over Oregon is not the worst loss. Had they lost to a different team other than Oregon, they would be lower. But because Oregon is not a bad loss, so to speak, you know, they didn't get blown out, but they did lose at home. It's not great. But Ohio State is Ohio State, so I still have them where I do. Let's see where I put them. I believe I put them at, I don't want to reveal this too much, at number 3. And then number 4, I have Indiana, Dean. Yes, they got smashed by Iowa. I totally understand that. But ultimately, Dean, I don't really think that the teams below them are better. I know that the teams below them have one more victory, but I do not feel comfortable enough saying without a shadow of a doubt that because of their 2 victories over some cream puff team, that they are definitely better than Indiana, who lost to a damn good Iowa team, okay, on the road. So that's where I have Indiana. And after Indiana, I believe I have Michigan State. Yes, I'm just going to keep it up because I keep looking. I have Michigan State. I'm surprised by their first 2, being 2-0, Dean. I really am. They have absolutely shellacked the teams that they have played. I'm still not a huge advocate of Mel Tucker because I am also a Colorado Buffalo fan, and he didn't do anything at Colorado. But it looks so far so good with Michigan State. He has them 2-0. But as the season goes on and more film comes out, we'll see if Michigan State can keep it up. And at 6, I have Rutgers, who is also 2-0. Dean, to be honest, it's whatever. And Maryland, I have 7. Now, here's the thing, Dean, before I toss it over to you. Most of these teams, okay, would be higher if we were to do a standings of the entire Big Ten, okay? Most of these teams would be higher than most of the teams in the Big Ten West, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, in my opinion, okay? The Big Ten East has been much better than the Big Ten West so far going into this season. All right, buddy, you're up in the Big Ten East. Go.
Okay. I will agree that the Big Ten East is loaded this year. So yeah, we'll start number 1. I've got Penn State. Upset. First time since we started doing this. Neither one of us has had Ohio State there.
That's true. We didn't. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. At number 2, I've got Michigan.
Nice.
I think you had Michigan number 2 also, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Here's where things changed for you and me. Number 3 is Michigan State.
Wow.
I've been impressed with what they've done in their first couple of games. Now, and this is totally based on what the eyeball sees,
Yeah.
And so, this could change it over the course of the season because the East is loaded, and I think the East is going to be knocking each other off.
Nice.
All right. And so at number 4, I put Ohio State, and I debated whether to have them up one more notch ahead of Michigan State. And I will tell you why they're number 4, because they did lose at home to a lower ranked Oregon team, but Oregon is a good team.
Yes, they are.
And okay. But I also remember they barely beat Minnesota. Minnesota had the lead in that game for a while, and Minnesota stubbed its own foot in that game. Minnesota cost themselves that game.
I'm happy you brought that up. That is very
not anything
true.
Ohio State did.
Yeah, I like that.
But Ohio State did win by 14 points, but yeah.
But they were on the ropes there for a little bit. Yeah, I like that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then next is Indiana. And this is tough because Indiana's good, but man, these guys got to play each other and they're going to beat each other up. And so, but yeah, I'm not trying to look into the future, but I'm just kind of looking at where we're at right now because Indiana lost to a very good Iowa team and it wasn't even close.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I got Maryland, and then followed by Rutgers. And like you said, I think Rutgers and Maryland are better than probably half of the West.
Yeah. I don't know if I would go, half of the West for sure, but right now it seems that way. The bottom line is with Maryland and Rutgers is, I want to pull up who they have played real quick because, it's very early in the season. Okay. Maryland has beaten West Virginia. That's a good win. Okay. That's a good win. And they've beaten Howard. That's, who cares? Rutgers has beaten Temple and they've beaten Syracuse. Okay. Two 2 average wins. Okay, not below average, average to maybe slightly above average victories. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself with those 2 teams. But I tend to agree with you there. All right, buddy. How about you go first with the Big Ten West?
Okay.
All right, buddy. Go ahead.
All righty. Iowa, number 1 in the West.
Nice.
There's no way you can't. I think every expert in the world has Iowa ranked first in the power rankings in the West.
Yes.
Okay. Wisconsin is number 2. Wisconsin's defense, they were outstanding against Penn State.
Okay.
Penn State was just a little bit better that day. But
I gotta tell you, folks, Dean is always very high on Wisconsin. Always very high on Wisconsin. I respect it, but you are very high on Wisconsin.
Yeah. Wisconsin seems to be back doing what they did. I thought I heard something this morning that their running back is already in 2 games, has got over 300 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And remember, we talked about that. If they can't rush, they don't win games. Like last year, they couldn't rush. This year, they're rushing. And so that's
if they have the running game back on track, they will be in good shape. That's for sure.
They'll be in good shape. And that defense is just stellar.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Iowa and Wisconsin go at it again, because that should be like an ugly, 16-9 type game.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. And because Minnesota nearly upset Ohio State, they're my number 3 team in the West, because
gotcha.
I don't think Minnesota has the goods to take first in the West. But I think they have the goods to beat just about everybody else in the West except for Iowa and Wisconsin.
One question mark with Minnesota so far is the defense, and I'll just say that for now. Go ahead, Dean.
Okay, yeah. Okay, then I follow by Purdue, because Purdue has looked impressive early. They're doing what they should be doing to teams that they should beat. They're beating them easily. Right? Can you bring up Purdue's schedule? I want to see.
Yeah, that's what I was doing right now.
Okay.
They have beaten Oregon State from the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 looks much better than people realized. And UConn from the AAC, the American Athletic Conference.
Okay. Yeah, the UConn,
so they have
UConn
2
is
good
a bad
victories.
team this year. UConn's a bad team. They're not
maybe
go
so,
anywhere.
but either way, UConn is probably a better victory than they're still technically a power. I don't know if they're Power 5, if UConn is Power 5. I don't know, but it's not
they're not considered Power 5.
Okay, it's not the worst win. I'll say that. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either.
We'll have a better idea what Purdue's made of today with this weekend when they play on Notre Dame.
Yes.
And Notre Dame is not looking like the Notre Dame of past.
Yes, I agree.
They look very vulnerable. Okay. All right, then behind Purdue, I put Northwestern. I just think Northwestern's going to struggle this year, despite having that quarterback that they've got. I just don't think that's going to be enough this year for Northwestern.
Yeah.
And then Illinois, who came out of the gate looking strong against Nebraska, but turn around and lost to a non-Power 5 team the following week.
Yes.
I'm
gonna pull up Illinois' games right here.
Yeah.
Illinois beat Nebraska. Then they lost to University of Texas San Antonio, UTSA. And then they got shellacked by Virginia, who is probably going to be very average. Okay. They'll be lucky to win 7 games this year.
Yeah. Okay. So Illinois is still a work in progress.
Yeah.
But mark my words, Bielema is going to have that team looking like Wisconsin in a couple of years.
Nice.
Okay. And then, Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, so far the only loss they have is to Illinois, but it's hard to even do anything with Nebraska right now. I mean, look at that Buffalo score, 28-3. That should have been more like they should have like 46-3 on Buffalo.
Totally agree. This week against Oklahoma will be a big game. And I have zero confidence in Nebraska, but it will show where they can possibly be. I will say this. I would not be surprised in the least if Nebraska makes it a competitive game. See, that's the fool's gold that Nebraska gives people, is they can compete because they have a lot of talent. Okay. Mm-hmm. But they just aren't consistent enough, and they lose to teams like Illinois. Okay. So which is just Not great. All right, guys. Your boy Nolan's going to just hammer away here. Okay. Number one, I got the Hawkeyes. Obviously, in my opinion, they have the best resume in the Big Ten up to date. And not only have they beaten two ranked teams, one top 10 and one top 18, but they beaten both of them by double digits. That is absolutely incredible. Number two, guys, I have Purdue. And the bottom line is you look at, Purdue's victories, and I know UConn is not the best win. I got it. Okay. But the win against a Pac-12 Oregon State team is a better win than anybody else in the Big Ten the Big Ten West has besides Iowa. Okay. Besides Iowa, the best victory any team has is Purdue against Oregon State. So I have Purdue number 2, and number 3, I have Minnesota. Okay. And the reason I have Minnesota is very simple. Okay. They were very competitive against Ohio State, who was top 5 at the time. And recently they beat Miami of Ohio, and I get it. Miami of Ohio is not the best victory in the world. But Miami of Ohio is a decent MAC team. But to be honest, it's more because of how competitive they made it against Ohio State. It's still losing by 2 touchdowns. But it wasn't the worst loss in the world. Behind Minnesota, I have Wisconsin. I'm just not confident about Wisconsin at all. And the bottom line for me is they were competitive against Penn State, but they lost, just like Minnesota lost to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. But the difference, in my opinion, the victory they have, I mean, Wisconsin and Minnesota are virtually the same right now, in my eyes. I do have Minnesota higher, but ultimately they both have lost I'll put it to you guys this way, okay? Minnesota lost to a top 5 Ohio State team, whereas Wisconsin lost at home to, let's see here. I think it was the 10th ranked Nittany Lions. So the loss against Ohio State seemed a little bit better at the time. They are very close to each other in my eyes. You could flip them either way, but I'm just going to put Minnesota and then Wisconsin. Behind them, I have Northwestern. Dean, I totally agree with you. Northwestern is not the biggest difference with Northwestern from last year is not the offense, in my opinion. It's their defense. Mm-hmm. Their defense just does not have the horses needed to have a run like they had last year. After Northwestern, I have Illinois because they beat Nebraska. But quite frankly, you can probably flip-flop Illinois and Nebraska. And last but not least, I have the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Dean. So there we go. All right, guys, let's transition real quickly into me and Dean's overall top 5. I'll just rattle mine off real quick, Dean. Number 1, I have Iowa. Number 2, I have Penn State. Number 3, I have Michigan. Number 4, ultimately, let me see, because I don't want to overlap here. I got to see. Okay, number 4, I have Ohio State. And number 5, let me see. I got to look back here. The top 5 ultimately is not that hard, in my opinion. Number 5, I am proud. Gosh, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be. Number 5, gosh darn it. You know what? I'm going to just go with Purdue. I don't know, but I don't feel good about that, Dean, having Purdue number 5. I almost put Indiana. I'm going to put Indiana. Okay, guys, I'm going to put Indiana. Iowa is the only Big Ten West team that I'm going to put in the top 5 right now. Number 2, I have Penn State. Number 3, I have Michigan. Number 4, I have Ohio State. And number 5, I have Indiana. And, I actually don't even feel that bad about putting Indiana in there because nobody in the West really deserves or has an argument to be in there. But neither does Indiana. That's why maybe we should have just done a top 4. Anyways, go ahead, Dean. You're up.
All right. Well, number 1, Iowa. Number
Nice.
2, Penn State. So there we agree. Number 3, Michigan. Number 4, Wisconsin. And number 5, Michigan State. You will notice that Ohio State did not make the five cut. They were number 6 on my list, but they didn't make the 5 cut.
Ohio State not in for my guy Dean. Let's save this and let's revisit this next week. You know, I do want to say to you guys that when me and Dean are looking at this, we both try and assess this based off of how the teams have performed so far in the current season, not what they have done before, what they were in the preseason. That is what we tried to do. Dean, thank you so much for your list. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
And last but not least, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot when you guys do that. But if you don't think we've earned it, just feel free to like, comment, and share. Me and Dean love chatting with you guys. I hope you guys put your own standings in the comment section. Tell us where you disagree with us, where you agree with us, what you guys think. Be sure to check out 247hawkeye.com. And obviously, last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow, and facts or feelings, because feelings don't matter. Love y'all. Go Hawks.